Let's say you go out to eat with a buddy, you grab a beer, whatever, and you're sitting there and you're just mid-conversation, and the server does this. We doing all right over here? Still doing okay? For some reason, they always touch the table. We doing all right? I've been at restaurants before where, obviously, this is my passion, is what I coach. So I'm gonna notice this a little bit more than some people. I remember watching a girl server. The bar's over here, and it's just like this, like half circle, right? She's bartender, and this is COVID time, so they're understaffed. I get it. She's bartending. Then, in a panic, because she forgot to go check on her tables, she goes around to every single table in that half circle. Every single table, she goes, "Are we doing all right over here?" Some tables she didn't even wait. "Are we doing all right?" And then just kept walking. That's not a table touch. One of the best compliments that I've ever gotten, and I actually get it quite often, I'm not trying to brag at all, but this is something I've figured out. And we call it being the silent server. It's being present without being needy, and you don't have to make yourself known. It was one of the best compliments. She told the manager this. I was a server too, and he was just so good because he was just always there, and you could tell he's there, but he never made himself known. He's just there. And if I needed something, I can look up, and he's right there to get it. And she's like, it's so hard to find the balance of being there and being available and not being there. Or being annoyingly there and not being there. So this is called the silent server. What's up? It's Kevin Kennedy, six-figure server. We're talking about the silent server. See how I was just loud? You don't want that. That's not silent. You want to always be there without being there. So you're always present. They can feel your presence. If they're in the middle of a conversation, they can just tell that you're there. And I've tested it too. Like where I walk by a table and I stand there, and I've even stood at tables but further away, and I'm like staring. And they just wholeheartedly they ignore me. I'm like, cool, I guess you guys are good. But never do I interrupt. Never do I walk up. And I don't know why. They just always touch the table. We're doing good over here? We're good over here? I'm interrupting your conversation. You good over here? No. Okay, look, I'm obsessed with The Office. I'm watching it probably, honestly, for the 20th time. And I just finished where Dwight goes and works at Staples, and there's this funny scene. He's like asking the lady, "Are you doing all right?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm fine. I don't need any help." And he just stands there and stares. And she looks back at him, and he's like, "I will literally be right here if you need anything at all." And that's what we're talking about. You're right there if they need anything at all, and you stop and you don't interrupt, and you're like, "Do you guys need anything?" Silently. And then they're like, they don't even notice you, or they don't turn, because if they did need something, they're going to be looking for you, and you're right here, they're going to tell you. You don't have to interrupt. That's my absolute biggest pet peeve. The other cool thing, and it makes you feel like a badass, and sometimes you get it wrong, but for the most part, you can get it right, where like you're at the POS, you're putting in an order, you look up, you glance at your table, and they're just staring at you, because they're thirsty, they want another beer, and you just go, and they say, you're like, yeah, another beer. I've only gotten that wrong like twice. It's not that big of a deal. Oh, you didn't want another beer? Sorry. I'll drink it later. So, silent server. I was communicating silently across the room. But they needed me, and I was available, right? The other thing about being a silent server is, because I'm the professional, I know where every table is at. So because I know where you're at, I can predict what you're going to need next. So I can be silent. So if I know where every table is at and where every guest at that table is at in their experience, I can glance over while I'm putting in an order at the POS. I can just glance over and be like, all right, water, Coke. Their appetizer didn't hit their table yet. That's weird. Their appetizer did hit the table. I'm going to put their order in really quick. I know where everyone's at. And I'm always glancing. I'm always aware. I'm standing here taking your order at your table. I have a six top. And they're like, I'm like, all right, cool. You get two sides. They're like, take that opportunity, and they don't know that I'm looking around at other tables, but I'm the silent server. So I'm at your table, I'm present with you, but I'm always looking because I always know where my tables are at. You can walk in, I honestly challenge you, if you figure out where I work, you can walk in and ask me where my tables are at. And I'll tell you exactly where every single table's at. Because I'm the silent server, you have to know where your tables are at. You also have to be intentional. So let's say I'm carrying a tray of food. I intentionally walk the long way so I can go through my section. And as I'm walking, I'm observing and I'm seeing where my tables are at. I take that opportunity as I'm walking to drop food off to one of my tables. Okay, well, your appetizer didn't hit your table, so I'm gonna go find that really quick when I take the tray back. Or you're almost done with your appetizer, so I should probably put your food in. And I'm figuring out what you need next. But you have no idea that that's going on. You just think I'm carrying food to another table, if you even notice me. Or, as I'm walking, I'm available, and I've done it where I stand there and I talk to a table. This table knows that I'm carrying their food, and they're like, what the f*** are you doing? And I'm like, you want another Coke? Because they stop me while I'm carrying a tray of food, because for some reason, it's all about the table, and they don't give a f*** that you have other tables. Have you ever been snapped at? Oh my god. I worked at a club where they paid like $4,000 a month. I was literally mid-conversation, and they're like, I turned, so I gave them my full attention. That didn't sound good. I gave them my full attention, body language. I will be right over there. I'm with another table, give me a second. Then I come back and I'm present with you. So sometimes you can't be silent, right? But I'm intentional, so I intentionally turn. I'm like, all right, guys, shut up. But I've known people that have been snapped at, and then they snap, and they're like, and then they get fired. It's really funny. There's drama in food service. That's why we love it. We're always there, but we're not there. We're silent. We're always intentional about everything that we do, and we always know where our tables are at. So how do we do that? We're always observing. Like I said, you're always intentionally observing. So you're figuring out, you're taking opportunity. Maybe you have a second and you're waiting for a drink at the bar to be poured. You're taking a look at your tables. You're looking around. I'm walking through my section. I'm putting an order in. And I look up. And I'm like, oh, all right. I'm specifically observing where you at with food and where you at with drink. And in my head, I'm like, okay, these guys should be done with their appetizer. Or they should have gotten their appetizer. There's this internal clock. And if you've been serving for a while, there's an internal clock. And I'm almost down to the second. To where I'm like, your food literally should be out right now. And I actually go between any minute or any second. And any minute means I have to go check on it because it really should have been out. Or it's going to be out here in a minute or two. And your food's going to be out any second means I'm pretty sure someone's walking this way with your food right now. And I'm like 80% on point. And I've done it where I've gone on one side of the kitchen to look for my food and the food's walking out. And I'm like, oh my God, now it's I got to chase the food down and figure out where it's at. But after you've been serving a while, you get this internal clock where you're like, your appetizer's not down. I'm going to go check on it because that's weird. It should be down by now. And I need to put your food in if it is down, right? So you're always intentionally observing. I'm looking at food, I'm looking at drinks, I'm looking at where they're at, where they have, where they don't have. If you finish your drinks, you finish your food. What's next? You're either going to get another round of drinks, if you guys have alcohol where you work, or you're going to want your check. That takes me to the next thing. Predict. I predict that you're going to want your check next. I predict that your food's going to come out because you just finished your appetizer. I ring in your food. I predict that you're going to want a refill on your Coke. Or I predict that you're going to want your beer refilled. You're going to want another beer. So I'm going to come over. I'm going to say another beer. And as I'm asking you, I'm going to be pulling off the dirty plates because there's more plates coming to your table. So I'm predicting. I'm the professional. I'm the silent server. Finally, you got to trust your instincts. You're the professional. You do this all the time. And it doesn't change. By the way, it doesn't change anywhere in the world. Anywhere in the world you go, you're going to get drinks, you're going to get food, you're going to get dessert. The style of it changes, but the format and the process is the same anywhere. It doesn't change. I can't tell you how many people are so surprised and so impressed that I have the check ready. I'm like, guys, listen. You're done with food. You're done with drinks. You get another round of drinks, I'm going to go print out another check. And you don't know that I had the check ready. But especially at lunch, if you're working a lunch shift, have the check ready because most likely they're going to have to get back to work. And a lot of times they're going to ask for the check like right after you drop the food off. You got to predict. Here's what I challenge you to do. This is what's going to solidify this for you. And this is what's going to build that skill is start looking for specific things. Start with drinks. When you're done with your experience at my table, I'm so used to only seeing drinks and napkins on the table. Because there should only be drinks and napkins on the table, which makes your job easier. Whether you have a busser or you don't have a busser, if you don't have a busser, your job's way easier because now you just have to clean up napkins and some cups and some trash and then you're done. But if you do have a busser, all they have to clean up is trash, napkins, and cups. And they're done. Wipe it down and you're ready for your next table. That's how you turn tables quick. But you got to pre-bus. Start looking at their drinks. Start looking at where they at in their experience, but consciously. Because you probably do this already, but consciously think about it. And as you do that more often, that's gonna be second nature to you. So go try that. That's my challenge to you. Let me know what happens in the comments below, or hit us up on the IGs at Six Figure Server at Six Figure Kevin. Let us know. Do you already do that, or is that a new skill for you? And if you have questions about it, let me know because I'll absolutely help you with it. Now go and be nothing less than legendary.